Now we're on to the final editing stage. There's no need for you to be on site at this point. Any data that you need to manipulate here should not require you to need to check measure anything or be on site to keep it fresh in your memory. So all data should be taken, and you should have got your templates to a stage where you're happy to leave site. And then basically from here we're now going to change the data, add dimensions, add text, and all the other things we need to do to get it ready for the CNC machine. So what we're going to do here is combine all of our data. So at the moment we've got data on multiple pages. So what I'm going to do here is just add the splashbacks into the correct locations, just for a sanity check for myself, just to make sure that everything's lining up and that the splashbacks aren't wildly different sizes to the worktops. So drawing some little data lines that I can use just to locate. I found this a lot easier just to locate this way than trying to move the data in any other way. So using the slab layout tool to select all the data I want to move and which page to copy it to. And now, while it's still highlighted, using the moving tool just to get it into the location I want it to. This can be a little bit fiddly. This is why the location lines are really crucial, because you can get quite a good idea of whether they're lined up to within a couple of mil. And that's all you need here, because you're not trying to change any data. You just want to get it all onto one page, just so you can work with it in one hit, label it correctly in one go, rather than having data spread over multiple pages. So I'm going to go and do that with the second page in a minute. Firstly, just making sure that I've got it pretty close to where it needs to be. Using the lines once again, just to add data where I need it so I can easily take it away again. Not manipulating my actual data that I've taken off site at all. You don't really ever want to change your raw data too much. So now we're going to do the same thing. Move the second piece in. And now we're going to take all of the colours away that we don't need. The CNC machine only needs to see very few colours, and a lot of this data was for us and not for the CNC machine. So I'm just using the select tool here and the colouring tool on the slab layout page to select all the data in one hit and erase all in one hit as well. Now you'll have some clean data that is a lot easier to digest, and the CNC machine can understand an awful lot of that without having to be confused by random bits of carcass data and all sorts that we had earlier. Now I'm just going to use the text tool just to add as much information on site as we need. This is really handy if the guys who are going back to fit are not going to see the job, which is awfully common. Adding dimensions in where they need to be added, key locations like hob sinks, joints, things like that. Any pertinent information you want, just add in here. This would normally be on the cleaned page as I would do it, but you can add this data anywhere and you'll find your own groove onto where we're going to do it. In this scenario, this was a shark nose job, so just adding a little bit more detail in. Adding how much return polish needs to be added in here. Now we want to make a dimensions page for all of the wall coverings. So what we're going to do here is we're going to start a new page and bring over any data that we want to use. So in this case, like I said, all wall coverings. This could be done for worktops. This could be done for specific bits of data that you want to get on a separate page or show different aspects of. And then just using the dimensions tool to add all the pertinent dimensions on. And what we'll do here is add all of the 20mm dimensions on here. So what we're going to do is now bring over the next set of data. Copy it, move it. Obviously if you move it, that deletes it from the other page, so it's always best to copy. There is an autosave feature in the file tab of things where if you do make a mistake or need to go back to a previous version, you can do that. So once you've expanded all the data out and added all your dimensions in, it will look a bit more like what you'll be seeing here in a minute. But what I'm just going to show you here now is that this bit of data is actually not ready for the CNC machine yet, because when you use the view tool you can see the polylines and the contiguous breaks. So the polylines means that the CNC machine reads that as a complete ready to cut item. If it's got a contiguous break in it, the problem is it won't actually be able to recognize that data. So right now that splashback has got a break in it somewhere. When you press the contiguous break view, it will show you whereabouts that break is, and then what that normally means is you've got two bits of data that aren't quite joined. So in this case we'd just fillet this together. Now you can see it's all gone purple. You can use this view tool to see whether all your data is ready or whether it's not. So once you've got your 20mm dims page or your wall dimensions page done, this is the page that you would create a CNC saw page off. You wouldn't create the CNC saw page for your splashbacks or upstands in any other way. I would get basically all of my data for my walls and sills and things like that onto one page, and then that is where I will create my CNC saw page from. And I'll probably do the same thing for my worktops as well, because it's just one final check before you press that CNC page tool, just to make sure that everything's all connected together, there's no data you don't want. So now instead of pressing a blank, what we would do is press the CNC saw page, select what page we want. Those are removing layer tools, so if you've got any colors on there that you still want to remove and haven't removed them manually, that will do it automatically if it's selected. The manufacturer here is the Donatoni, but that's because that's what you guys are using, and you won't change that at all. And then that will make a CNC ready page that will be churn all the data to be able to communicate straight away with the Donatoni machine, and then from there that is what you would then load into the CNC machine. You wouldn't load in any of the other data, any of the raw pages, the clean data, or anything like that. That's for the guys who are polishing, that's for you to refer back to. The only pages that will go onto the CNC machine are the pages that you create as a CNC file. So in this scenario, that will be the 20mm dims page for the splashbacks, and then that will be a separate worktop page for the worktops, which I would have made as well already for the CNC.